Alright, so this is your boy Raider Knight, and today I'm going to be doing a video kind of showing the geopolitical situation in BruhCity. This this will be like our political video for BruhCity. We're gonna kind of show you the map. I've never really shown the map before in this way, so I thought, you know what? Why don't I show the map off like this? I feel like it'd be the coolest way to do it. And we can go over all the areas and kind of show you guys what's going on in BruhCity. The map is huge, and I've discovered for anybody who cares. I've kind of made like a giant square, and I've tried to fill the square up. I wanted the square to be like the mainland, and then way over here we have Cloud Peak. This is Cloud Peak. It's like a giant skyscraper out here, and it's by the mountain as well. This Cloud Peak, and there was going to be a massive city out here, but it never really took off. But that's Cloud Peak way over there. Here's like a mushroom island. I even got like canals going like through here because this is a village. I don't remember the name of it, but I think it's owned by Gageland because you can see like the green flag or whatever. I think this is like a territory of my country. I'll probably eventually cede it over to someone else because I don't think I want it, or make it a new country or something. But we have a canal that goes through here. This is like a really cool sea. And then obviously we have the main ocean, which is where BruhCity was built, and all the other districts of the city. A lot of this land was built by me, so as you can see, it's like still being built as we're expanding. I don't really know how far BruhCity will go because we're probably not going to expand a whole lot in this area. We might do like some land out here or something, and I think we might do some stuff over here. And there'll probably be like, I'll fill this in. I'll probably have like some land here. Maybe Spook Island will grow a little bit, but not too big. There might be like a land expansion out here. I feel like this is where most of the land will have to be built because there's really just no room anywhere else. It's kind of like here there's a lot of space, and then down here there's a lot of space. So eventually it might get to where we have to start building across the ocean, which would be kind of interesting. I have a giant ice highway. You can kind of see it now from the sky view, which is kind of cool. We have giant canals going through here. I want to build a canal up here because I feel like when you sail your ship or whatever, you'd sail through here. But I have these canals, so it kind of makes up for it. I built a canal here. There's also some canals up here in the Mesa community, which is a district of Gageland. So we have two giant canals here that run up into the North Sea. We have a small canal here, and we have a canal here in the swamp that needs to probably be improved. But we also have the canal here. I'm just kind of showing you guys the canals, I guess, to start out. We have the Northwest Passage right here, which goes through here. This is also a canal. I had to build this, but the Northwest Passage goes through here. It's kind of just a quicker Ender Bruce Memorial Canal. This way is quicker, I think. And then you can go out here into the Greater Ocean. Down here we have the West Canal, the Southwest Canal. The Blue Moon Canal, which separates the two districts of the, well, they have three districts, but two of their districts in the Blue Moon Republic, which is a nation. And then it goes out into the Greater Ocean once again. So a lot of canals we have. I think there's even a canal way over here that I was thinking of building. I want to put one right here. And I had another canal, I think, somewhere. There's obviously a lot of canals down here. I built this giant canal. I think it goes out into the ocean eventually. I think I built some more little canals somewhere. Yeah, I think I just helped it kind of go into the ocean or whatever. Up north we have some pretty interesting canals. I'll show you guys those too. Up north we have this canal. I had to build this. So this is a canal right here. And it goes up to, I should probably put another canal right here, to be honest, but you can kind of sneak through here, go up here, and there's another canal that goes up into this northern ocean. So giant ocean up here as well. As you can tell, I've built a lot of canals. But let's start off with the geopolitics of the world. So obviously, you know there's a world war about to break out. It's probably not going to happen for a while, but the world war is about to break out into the Gageland BruhCity world, We have Terran, which is the main aggressor of the war. At least that's what people believe. They are kind of aggressing. They're building a massive fleet of aircraft carriers, with the third one being planned. And this giant fleet is kind of stationed around their three major districts. So we have the city of Terran, which is right here, with the newly built Oroki House, which is the Capitol building. We have the giant tower right here, and a lot of the stuff I showed you in the recent video. But this is all this. They have a great airfield right here. They have their aircraft carrier. They have this little island, which is going to eventually have an aircraft base, but it also has the carrier right next door. They own the city of Overland, which is just a small outpost at the moment. They're planning their next carrier. They have another little outpost for the aircraft, and they own Hustler Hills, which is a pretty decently sized community. So the Terran Empire is very powerful right now. They have a lot of power, probably the most power that anyone's ever seen in the world since the rise of Gageland, which is just BruhCity. So a lot of power up here in the north west. So this eventually is probably going to become a giant industrial sector to rival the great BruhCity. Because there's a lot of plans going on in Terran right now. They plan to completely terraform the swamplands up here and here. This is going to be like a giant shopping district area. This is going to be more skyscrapers and stuff like that. So Terran is going to like fully mobilize this into a giant city region to rival BruhCity in the coming months or years. So eventually Terran is going to be a massive city district up here in the north. But you might be wondering, what all does Gageland BruhCity own? They own a lot of land. So some lands are kind of contested, like the Bersha Atoll is really not defined who owns it. Some people say Cod Kingdom, some people say Gageland owns it. This land is not very well defined, but currently Gageland owns the Loki Grad Atoll. They have the Mushroom Friend military base, which is kind of new. They own the Daquan District, the Ace Springs District. They do not own the Goldfish Atoll, but they do own the Small Forest region. They own the Mansion Park. They own the Crimson District. They own Driftwood Atoll, Spook Island. They own a lot of this land, kind of in the circle I'm drawing with my cursor. They own a lot of these islands, and they own the Basil Islands as well. So a lot of this land is owned by the Gageland Empire. And they also own this little base down here in this island chain in the Southern Ocean. So they kind of sail their ships down, and they own a lot of this as well. The Gageland Empire also owns the West Canal. We own this canal. We also own the Mesa community up here in the north and the Small Forest landmark. So we send our ships this direction. The Ice community is kind of disputed territory as well, but we kind of go up here. We own all this land, and we own the Grand Canals and all this as well. So Gageland owns a lot of land. So we own a lot. And we also own this little base down here. So we own a lot of this land at the moment. So the Gageland Empire is huge compared to Terran. Terran just owns mainly just this little section. But we have full swaths of land. We are the great empire. But the tension is still mounting. Driftwood Atoll is kind of in the center of that attention, because they could easily just send in their aircraft fleet and take the islands, or even take Spook Island if they were feeling risky, and then they could bomb the bridge and try to secure even more land for themselves up here in the north. That's kind of what people are afraid of. Now, down here in the south, we will talk about some other developments. So obviously you have that giant Cold War up in the north. There's also some countries in the south that are having some interesting developments. We have, it's kind of like a political podcast for BruhCity. We have the Blue Moon Republic and the Blue Moon Air Base. The Blue Moon Republic is currently allied with Terran, mainly due to the fact that they are broken. They could not pay their debt off. They're a very poor country right now. And they currently own a lot of land as well. They own the Blue Moon Canal, the Tradeport Village, Flying Sands, and the Blue Moon Republic, as well as this air base. And they could not fix their country up, so they basically begged Terran for a bunch of money and are now economically tied to Terran. So the Blue Moon Republic is an ally of Terran, and they pose a lot of risk of shutting down the West Canal with their air base if things got to that. and they could probably take all this over if they really wanted to. So there is some risk with that, and the small forest region is kind of at risk as well. Next, though, we're going to talk about, let's talk about Savaria first. Savaria is kind of a smaller city in the south. They were known for being bombed very heavily by the Cod Kingdom when Gragu was in control, and basically lots of their cities sunk into the ocean. But now they're starting to recover, and they even have an aircraft carrier, and they're posing a lot of risk to Gage Land because they are also allied to the Terran Empire, because Terran was the one funding a lot of their buildup. So Savaria is economically tied to Terran, and they pose a lot of risk on Fort Lycan, and they pose a lot of risk kind of in the South Ocean region. Now let's talk about Mount Kadam. Mount Kadam is a Israel Jewish stronghold essentially. They're not really involved in anything at the moment. They're just kind of a neutral state. They have not chosen a side yet. They don't really have any reason to pick a side because they're just really not militarized at all. This area is really not that important at the moment. And the ruins of Elon Husk's France doesn't really have anything either going for it. But eventually maybe a new civilization will pop up there. But for now, nothing really exists there. But let's move on to the next major players, which are the Cod Kingdom. So the Cod Kingdom used to be a very powerful nation. They used to own the Bersha Atoll. They used to own the well, they still own the Goldfish Atoll, but they used to own a ton of land right here. And recently they've had a civil war and split up into 3 separate nation states. So the Cod Kingdom in the north is allied to Gage Land. They own 2 aircraft carriers, the Goldfish Atoll and this main island right here. And the second city district is right here in the center. It was basically destroyed the worst in the Civil War and is a ruin. People are like basically farming along this little river right here. Things are pretty bad in the second city district. And in the third city district, things are kind of looking more like how they used to before Gragu originally annexed and invaded the region. So the third city district is kind of returning more to its roots of being kind of like a little desert enclave, essentially. So things are heating up here. Neither side of the second or third city district are allied with Cod Kingdom. They're starting to form their own little alliance, and they're more closely aligned to Terran. So we have major political things at play here. Lots of conflict in the making. What are your guys' thoughts on the geopolitical situation in BruhCity? And I will see you all for the next one. Peace.